Hey there guys, Tom here, welcome back to my movie channel and thank you very much for joining me for this, my review of the brand new Netflix movie, The Old Guard. If you guys haven't been here before, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring that notifications bell so that you never miss out on my take on all things movies. For the most part, Netflix's original movies don't have the greatest track record. I find that oftentimes most of their original movies are subpar to just very poor. It's been a long time. I can't remember. I think the last Netflix movie, original movie that I really thought was really good was Gerald's Game. So I've been really looking forward to seeing Netflix care more about quality over quantity. And at the moment, it seems to be the opposite. They just seemed to be focused more on just pump out as much content as we can. It doesn't matter how good it is. So when I get to sit down and watch The Old Guard, a movie with Charlize Theron, it's about a group of mercenaries. They also happen to be immortal so that when they get shot, they just heal. It's a really, really good fucking movie. So this has Charlize Theron, and I'm a big fan of her, and movies with her kicking ass. Anything with Charlize in it, I'll watch. I think she is one of the best actresses right now, and especially her in action roles, Mad Max Fury Road, Atomic Blonde, which I didn't love the movie overall, but she was fantastic in it. I loved her in this role and in this film. She is the main reason you are invested in the movie. She's very talented in the film. She gives a great performance. The Old Guard really is an interesting film to me because you have characters who are immortal. They can't die. And they do a really good job of diving into, well, what does it mean to be immortal? And also, do people who are immortal, do they have weaknesses? And they give these characters certain weaknesses, and there are certain things like your immortality can expire. So there are certain things like that in this movie that humanize these characters, and so they're not just these, immortal superhuman beings that can't die, and you never feel fear for these characters' safety. And that's one of the things I really appreciated about the movie, was that there are times where you have these great action scenes going on, and I'll talk about the action more in a second, but you have these great action scenes going on, and you actually feel like these characters, even though you know that when they get shot multiple times, it's gonna heal up, you still feel like these characters are in danger. You don't feel like, well, they're just gonna go through and, no one's ever gonna die. And it's really weird to say that with a movie with characters who are immortal. But still, I appreciated that the movie had that in there, because I think without that, the movie could feel a little bit like just standard superhero movie, if you will. Let's talk about some of the character work in this movie. I thought they did a really good job in this film of balancing, action comic book kind of movie with some really decent character work. I was very invested in these characters, and again, it's really a tricky thing, I think, with movies where you have immortal beings, so to speak, because it's really hard to sort of humanize them in a way and make them relatable and make you feel for these characters. And watching the film, I couldn't help but just think about Extraction, the movie with Chris Hemsworth that dropped on Netflix, I think, about a month ago now. And in my review of that, I said, that movie is all action with no characterization. That movie has almost fake emotion in it, because they sort of put random moments here or there, and they're really not trying that hard to get you to connect to the characters. But the action in Extraction was awesome. But that's one of the things that annoyed me about that film, was that, to me, having great character work and having great action is not an either or scenario. You can do both. There are movies like John Wick, the first John Wick. I think that movie has some great character work while also having the mind-bending action sequences. And I feel like with The Old Guard, to me, this is a movie that does have that almost perfect, not always, but it's pretty damn close to a perfect balance, in my personal opinion, between some decent character work and some really good action sequences. And the action sequences in this movie, watching Charlize, I could watch Charlize Theron shoot people in the head all day, every day. Give me that. Is there some questionable camera work throughout the movie? Yes, there is. But to me, it didn't really take me out of the movie as much as it might for other people. And there is, there is some shaky cam. There is some shots that are shot from far away but zoomed in that might annoy some people. I can see that. And I think normally, like in a big screen scenario, watching this movie in a cinema, it might have affected me and taken me out of the movie more than it did just sitting at home and watching it on Netflix. But even then, I couldn't help but thinking this is a movie that I actually would really have enjoyed seeing it on the big screen. I think this movie would have benefited in a lot of ways from being on the big screen, and it's certainly a movie that I would pay to see on the big screen if I could. I think the film did a really good job of establishing lore and establishing the rules of the universe that this movie takes place in. And there are things in the movie where they set up for a sequel, and to me, a lot of times when movies purposely set up for a sequel, it feels really forced. It feels really just out of place. And it's like, why are we setting up for a sequel? Just leave it. Just focus on this one movie and then worry about a sequel later. A lot of movies like Fantastic Beasts and the Crimes of Grindelwald, to me, that is a movie that is all set up just for the next movie. And it forgot to be a good standalone movie on its own. The Old Guard actually has a setup for a sequel at the end of the film that I thought was very natural, and it calls back to things that happen in the movie. So they actually set it up naturally throughout the movie itself. And look, listen, I want a sequel to this movie. I want a sequel to this movie right now because I had a great time watching The Old Guard. And I want to know what you guys thought of this movie. So if you've seen The Old Guard, let me know in the comment section below how you felt about it. Did you like it? Did you hate it? What do you think about Netflix's original movies? Do you think have you enjoyed the majority of them? Or are you like me where you think they're not that great? And I don't think Netflix is actually that great at a lot of their original movies. But this is one I really did enjoy. So thank you very much for watching this review, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit that subscribe button, ring that notifications bell so you never miss out on my take on all things movies. My name is Tom, and I will see you guys next time.